I assume that people are going to either detach the weapons, follow the things.
If they don't follow the regulation, they'll be a felon, right? For years, law-abiding Americans relied on the ATF's guidance in purchasing stabilizing braces, and
the rule applied to all stabilizing braces. The rule under the National Firearms Act.
It's clear that you came to ATF with an agenda, I believe, to infringe upon good law-abiding Americans' right.
The case at the center of this legal battle, Mock v. Garland, revolves around the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Arms and Explosives, or ATF's efforts to redefine the classification of arms equipped with stabilizing braces. Stabilizing braces are accessories designed to help users stabilize an arm, particularly pistols, improving accuracy and control. In 2012, the ATF issued guidance stating that arms with short barrels and stabilizing braces weren't intended for shouldering and therefore didn't qualify as short barrel rifles or SBRs, which are subject to more stringent regulations under the National Arms Act or NFA. This interpretation effectively allowed individuals to use stabilizing braces without falling under the purview of the NFA. Over the next decade, the popularity of braced arms grew significantly, with millions legally sold across the United States. However, in 2021, the ATF underwent a policy shift. They sought to reclassify virtually all arms with a barrel under 16 inches and a stabilizing brace as short barrel rifles. This reclassification would subject these arms to the same regulations as SBRs, requiring regulation, a $200 tax, and compliance with the NFA. This change had sweeping implications for both manufacturers and owners of braced pistols. The potential consequences for non-compliance were severe, including felony armed charges, substantial fines, and possible imprisonment. The ATF provided several options for braced pistol owners to comply with the reclassification, including dismantling, destroying, or turning in their arms or registering them under the NFA. This shift in policy was met with significant resistance from arms rights advocates and organizations. They argued that the ATF's reinterpretation infringed upon the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens, as it effectively imposed onerous restrictions on the possession and use of commonly used arms for self-defense. The Firearms Policy Coalition, FPC, an advocacy group dedicated to defending the constitutional rights of individuals, played a central role in the legal challenge. They represented individual plaintiffs, including Mr. Mock and Mr. Lewis, who were directly impacted by the ATF's rule change. These individuals faced the prospect of either relinquishing their arms or registering them under the NFA.
I assume that people are going to either detach the weapons, follow the things.
If they don't follow the regulation, they'll be a felon, right? For years, law-abiding Americans relied on the ATF's guidance in purchasing stabilizing braces, and
the FPC's legal strategy focused on two key arguments. Firstly, they contended that the ATF's reinterpretation exceeded the agency's statutory authority, as it amounted to a significant policy shift without proper legislative action. Secondly, they argued that the policy change violated the Second Amendment rights of individuals, as it targeted arms that are widely used for self-defense purposes. The case eventually made its way to United States District Judge Reed O'Connor. In his thorough and carefully considered decision, Judge O'Connor emphasized the fundamental importance of the Second Amendment in protecting the rights of individuals to keep and bear arms for self-defense. He cited landmark Supreme Court decisions, including District of Columbia v. Heller and New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin, to reinforce the significance of this constitutional right. Judge O'Connor's ruling in Mock v. Garland marked a crucial moment in the ongoing debate over arms rights and regulations in the United States. It highlighted the need for clarity and consistency in arms regulations and underscored the potential constitutional implications of policy shifts made by federal agencies like the ATF. The decision has set a significant precedent that may influence future legal challenges and discussions surrounding arms rights and regulations. Judge O'Connor's pivotal ruling. Judge O'Connor's recent decision represents a pivotal moment in the ongoing legal battle surrounding the ATF's regulations on pistol braces. The crux of the issue lies in the ATF's criteria for evaluating arm brace applications. These criteria, as argued in the cases before Judge O'Connor, were deemed by the plaintiffs to be ambiguous and overly discretionary. The subjective nature of the evaluation process raised concerns about potential infringements on arm owners' rights, prompting legal action. Judge O'Connor's decision to grant injunctions signifies a recognition of these concerns. By temporarily restraining the ATF from enforcing their pistol brace rule in the specific circumstances outlined in the cases, he is sending a clear message that the agency's policies must align with constitutional standards and respect individuals' rights to bear arms. This decision has ignited a broader conversation about the regulatory authority of the ATF in relation to arms accessories like pistol braces. It challenges the agency to revisit and potentially revise its policies to ensure that they're both clear and constitutionally sound. Moreover, it serves as a reminder that the judiciary plays a crucial role in upholding the rights enshrined in the Second Amendment, and that individuals and organizations have avenues to seek legal redress when they believe those rights are being encroached upon. As these cases continue to unfold, the arms community, legal experts, and policymakers alike will be closely watching. The outcome of these legal battles has the potential to shape not only how the ATF regulates pistol braces, but also the broader conversation around the scope of Second Amendment protections in the United States. Judge O'Connor's decision stands as a significant milestone in this ongoing debate.
Again, as ATF director, what Congress passes is what we deal with, and we don't do civil litigation in that sense.
In the Heller case, the Supreme Court made clear that the Second Amendment protects firearms in common use.
Not an expert to the same extent that people who work for decades at ATF as firearms experts who examine the mechanics.
ATF's response. The ATF's response to the recent decisions has been notably subdued, leaving many observers puzzled. Rather than promptly addressing the legal implications of the injunctions, the agency has largely remained inactive. This lack of action has prompted questions about the ATF's stance on complying with court orders and the broader implications for arm owners and organizations involved in the legal battles. What's particularly striking is that in some cases, field offices of the ATF have reportedly continued attempts to enforce the contested rules. This contradictory behavior, in light of the injunctions, has raised concerns about the agency's adherence to the legal process. It has also led to confusion and frustration among affected individuals and organizations who find themselves navigating a legal landscape marked by conflicting signals. In one instance, there were reports that ATF agents were visiting the homes of National Association for Gun Rights NAGR members to search for FRTs or force reset triggers, despite the injunctions explicitly protecting NAGR members from such enforcement actions. This situation underscores the challenges of ensuring compliance across the various levels of the ATF, from central directives to local field offices. Another disconcerting incident involved an FFL, or Federal Firearms License owner, who was reportedly under investigation by his local ATF field office. This investigation allegedly revolved around the owner's possession of brace pistols, a practice that had been protected by the injunctions issued by Judge O'Connor. These incidents highlight a disconcerting inconsistency within the ATF response. While higher-level decisions and injunctions are intended to provide clear legal guidance, the agency's field offices seem to be operating with a different interpretation or perhaps unaware of the legal development. This disconnect raises questions about communication within the ATF and the necessity for a united approach to ensure compliance with court laws.
I don't hold myself out as a technical expert in every aspect of
Okay,
firearms,
have
but
you worked
I'm an
with-
expert in dealing with violent
Okay,
crime.
I'll take that as I'm not an expert at some level. Are you an expert on tobacco?
Ultimately, the ATF's response, or lack thereof, to these significant legal developments raises concerns about the agency's commitment to upholding the rule of law. It also underscores the importance of effective communication and coordination within government agencies, particularly when navigating complex legal issues with broad implications for individuals' rights. As these cases continue to evolve, it remains to be seen whether the ATF will clarify its position and provide consistent guidance to its field offices. The agency's response moving forward will play a crucial role in determining how these legal battles unfold and how individuals' rights are upheld within the framework of the law. Landmark ruling protects arms rights. United States District Judge Reed O'Connor's recent ruling in the case of Monk v. Garland marks a significant development in the ongoing legal battle over the ATF's attempts to redefine arms equipped with stabilizing braces. The judge's conclusion is clear. The Second Amendment presumptively guarantees individuals the right to possess and carry braced pistols for self-defense both in public and within the home. This decision carries substantial weight as it directly addresses the types of guns protected by the Second Amendment. Judge O'Connor's ruling centers on the ATF's effort to reclassify arms with barrels under 16 inches long and equipped with stabilizing braces as short-barreled rifles or SBRs. Compliance with the NFA entails a $200 tax and mandatory registration with the ATF. Failure to comply can result in severe penalties, including substantial fines and up to 10 years of imprisonment. Judge O'Connor's ruling takes into account the ATF's own estimates, revealing that a very small percentage of braced pistol owners adhere to the reclassification requirements. This data led the judge to conclude that both individual plaintiffs and numerous members of the Firearms Policy Coalition (FPC) would be at risk of prosecution without the protection of an injunction. According to the ATF's estimates, millions of braced pistols and their owners are now subjected to the strictures of the NFA due to the final rule. The agency anticipates that the enforcement of this rule will lead to the destruction or forfeiture of over 750,000 arms. With a reported registration compliance rate as low as 8%, the potential impact on arm owners is substantial. Judge O'Connor argues that the ATF's reclassification likely infringes on the Second Amendment because braced pistols are commonly used for self-defense by Americans. The broad scope of this ruling significantly expands the legal challenges faced by the ATF's attempt to redefine these arms, underscoring the importance of the Second Amendment's protections. In essence, Judge O'Connor's decision reinforces the fundamental right of individuals to keep and bear arms, including commonly used arms for self-defense. This ruling not only addresses the specific issue of braced pistols, but also provides valuable legal precedent for potential challenges to other arm restrictions. It's a pivotal moment in the ongoing legal debate surrounding Second Amendment rights.
3-round burst or semi-automatic. Those firearms are not allowed for purchase in the United States today.
If you're referring to the statement I made, there was a member who was a veteran. I respect very much people's service to our military.
Second Amendment rights affirmed. United States District Judge Reed O'Connor's recent decision in the Monk v. Garland case has brought a fresh perspective to the Second Amendment. Judge O'Connor concluded that the ATF's attempt to reclassify arms equipped with stabilizing braces was likely unconstitutional. He emphasized that such arms, commonly used for self-defense, are protected under the Second Amendment. The judge's ruling builds on previous injunctions against the brace rule, which were based on the ATF's lack of authority to redefine braced pistols without congressional input. This ruling, however, delves further into which types of arms are safeguarded by the Second Amendment.
Banning a class of weapons that you don't like the look of, not because of functionality. Here's a 12-round magazine. This magazine would be banned under this current bill. It doesn't fit.
The ATF had sought to classify arms with barrels under 16 inches long and equipped with braces as short-barreled rifles. Judge O'Connor questioned the ATF's classification, highlighting that millions of these arms had been legally sold across the country. The reclassification meant that these arms would be subject to the National Firearms Act, requiring registration and a $200 tax. Failure to comply could result in felony charges. One of the key elements of Judge O'Connor's decision was his assertion that the government's attempts to reinforce the final rule significantly threatened the constitutional rights of the Firearms Policy Coalition members. He emphasized that the final rule could jeopardize their fundamental right to keep and bear arms for self-defense, which is protected by the Second Amendment. Judge O'Connor also addressed the issue of vagueness in the ATF's enforcement, particularly concerning whether a braced pistol owner could face prosecution for having a brace and pistol in close proximity, even if not attached. He criticized the ATF's guidance on this matter as being too broad and unclear for FPC members to understand. While the injunction is a significant win for plaintiffs, it doesn't extend to all brace owners. The judge declined to make the relief nationwide, emphasizing that the scope of the injunction should be limited to the parties involved in the case.
Why is the ATF trying to say a pistol's no longer a pistol? If you use a pistol brace, it's a short barrel rifle.
For God's sake, America already has more guns than people. How many guns do we need until everybody is safe?
This ruling sets a notable precedent and provides substantial support for arms rights advocates. It argues that arms and accessories targeted for ban are protected if they're in common use, and millions have been legally purchased. If other judges adopt the standard, it could have implications for categorical arm bans in various states. It's important to note that while Judge O'Connor's decision carries weight, it's not binding on other courts. However, it contributes to the ongoing legal discourse surrounding Second Amendment rights and the regulation of arms and accessories. The Department of Justice hasn't yet commented on the ruling or indicated whether they plan to appeal it. The decision will likely continue to shape discussions and legal proceedings related to arms rights and regulations in the United States. Potential nationwide impact. Judge O'Connor's recent ruling against the ATF's pistol brace rule carries significant potential implications for arm owners across the United States. While this decision isn't binding on other courts, it provides a legal argument that could resonate in future cases. The heart of the matter lies in the interpretation of the Second Amendment. Judge O'Connor emphasizes that the right to bear arms extends to arms that are in common use at the present time. He argues that the fact millions of law-abiding citizens own brace pistols demonstrates their common use, thus falling under Second Amendment protection. This interpretation, if adopted by other courts, could have far-reaching consequences for arm laws in various states.
Our Second Amendment. It's a hell no to government trampling on our freedoms.
Americans have the fundamental right to keep and bear arms that shall not be infringed.
Many arm control measures rely on categorizing specific arm accessories or configurations as dangerous and unusual. If courts consistently rule that items in widespread use among the public cannot be classified as such, it undermines the legal basis for these measures. States like California, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, and Maryland, known for strict arm laws, could face significant challenges. Laws targeting accessories like stabilizing braces might be called into question, as their popularity among arm owners would suggest that they're not unusual. This could prompt a reevaluation of existing arm regulations. Furthermore, Judge O'Connor's ruling sheds light on another contentious issue: vagueness in ATF guidance. He criticizes the lack of clarity regarding whether a brace and pistol in proximity, even if not attached, could lead to prosecution. This ambiguity has been a point of contention for arm owners and industry members alike, as it leaves individuals uncertain about the legality of their arms. The judge's stance on this issue underscores the importance of clear and precise regulations in upholding citizens' rights and avoiding potential criminalization due to unclear rules. If this perspective gains notion, it could prompt the ATF and other regulatory bodies to revisit and refine their guidance to ensure that it aligns with legal standards.
But, Madam Speaker, guns have been prevalent in the United States of America since before our founding.
Second Amendment protects firearms in common use at the time, and also said this, quote, for lawful purposes like self-defense.
While Judge O'Connor's injunction is a significant step for arm rights advocates, it's important to note that it doesn't extend to all brace owners, only those involved in the case. This limited scope is a strategic move to provide relief to the specific plaintiffs while avoiding broad nationwide implications. It suggests that future legal battles may be needed to secure broader protections for all brace owners. The Department of Justice's response to this ruling will be closely watched. They may choose to appeal the decision, setting the stage for further legal proceedings. This case has already demonstrated the potential for legal strategies to shape the interpretation and application of arm laws, and future developments will likely have a substantial impact on the landscape of arm regulations in the United States. Future legal proceedings. Judge O'Connor's recent ruling on the ATF's pistol brace rule sets the stage for potentially transformative legal proceedings in the realm of arm rights. The decision, while not nationally binding, establishes a strong legal argument that may resonate in future cases. One of the key implications of this ruling is the likelihood of appeals and further litigation. The Department of Justice has the option to appeal Judge O'Connor's decision, which could elevate the case to higher courts. Given the significance of the Second Amendment and its interpretation, this case may ultimately find itself in front of the Supreme Court.
Criminals will always find guns.
Absolutely.
And it is the cities with the most restrictive gun policies in the country where...
That's what gun control is all about. The ultimate goal is an unarmed and subjugated America.
The outcome could have far-reaching consequences, potentially solidifying legal standards for arm accessories and configurations. The potential for appeals raises questions about the broader impact of this ruling. If it withstands higher court scrutiny, it could serve as a precedent for similar cases across the country. This could lead to a re-evaluation of existing arm laws, particularly those targeting accessories like stabilizing braces. States with strict arm regulations may face challenges to the legality of certain restrictions, especially if they hinge on categorizing widely used accessories as dangerous and unusual. Additionally, the ruling underscores the importance of legal clarity in arm regulations. Judge O'Connor's critique of the ATF's guidance regarding brace and pistol proximity highlights the need for precise and understandable rules. This aspect of the decision may encourage regulatory bodies to review and refine their guidance to ensure it aligns with legal standards. Clearer regulations could mitigate confusion among arm owners and help them make informed decisions about their arms. Furthermore, the ruling's limited scope suggests that further legal battles may be necessary to secure broader protections for brace owners.
Well, Mr. Wilcox, there's no law. Congress didn't pass it. That's a rule from ATF.
It wasn't the fully automatic machine gun that was banned in 1986. It wasn't the bump stock.
While the injunction applies to specific plaintiffs in the case, it doesn't extend to all brace owners. This strategic move allows relief for those directly involved while avoiding sweeping nationwide implications. It sets the stage for potential class action lawsuits or other legal challenges seeking to expand protections for a larger group of arm owners. Overall, this ruling has the potential to shape the trajectory of arm rights litigation in the United States. This decision's legal arguments and interpretations provide a compelling framework that may influence future court proceedings. As the case progresses through legal appeals and other legal channels, it will likely draw attention from both arm rights advocates and proponents of stricter arm regulations. Ultimately, the implications of this ruling extend beyond the specific issue of stabilizing braces. It touches on fundamental questions about the scope and interpretation of the Second Amendment, potentially reshaping the legal landscape surrounding arm ownership and accessories in the United States. Advocacy and reactions. Judge O'Connor's recent ruling on the ATF's pistol brace rule has ignited passionate responses from both advocates of arm rights and proponents of stricter arm regulations. The decision has been hailed as a significant victory for arm rights advocates who see it as a reaffirmation of the Second Amendment's protection of individual arm ownership.
The pistol brace also does not help the shooter load the pistol more quickly.
Turning law-abiding Americans into felons by banning pistol braces.
Gun rights organizations such as the Firearms Policy, which has been involved in the case, have lauded the decision as a crucial step in safeguarding the rights of law-abiding arm owners. They view the ruling as a strong assertion that commonly used arm accessories like stabilizing braces should not be subject to arbitrary regulatory regulations. For these groups, the decision resonates as a pivotal defense for the right to bear arms for self-defense. Conversely, proponents of stricter arm regulations have expressed concerns over the potential ramifications of the ruling. They worry that it might open the door to challenges against other arm control measures, potentially leading to a broader loosening of restrictions. Critics argue that the decision could make it more challenging to implement measures aimed at curbing armed violence and ensuring public safety.
But at the crux of this is A bureaucrat making a unilateral decision to try to turn millions of Americans into felons.
Certain bump stock devices, like the one used in Las Vegas, are illegal under current law.
The Department of Justice's response to the ruling will be closely watched. The DOJ has the option to appeal the decision, which could lead to further legal proceedings. Depending on how the case progresses, it may eventually reach higher points, potentially even the Supreme Court. This decision may serve as a catalyst for a broader national conversation on armed rights and the scope of Second Amendment protections. The ruling's potential to influence future legal proceedings is a topic of significant discussion among legal experts and scholars. Some anticipate that similar cases may emerge, challenging various aspects of armed regulations. This decision could serve as a legal precedent, guiding how courts evaluate the constitutionality of regulations related to arm accessories and configurations. Well guys, that does it for this video. See you next time, and bye for now.